I'm Al McFarlane. Welcome to the Conversation with Al McFarlane. I'm glad to be here and glad to have you along as well. Today is Friday, and as you know, on Fridays, it's the Healing Circle. And today, as always, we are happy to be in circle and conversation and community with our colleague and leader, Dr. Bravada Garrett Akinsanya, who is the principal at the African American Child Wellness Institute and Braken's Psychological Services as well. And we gather here to talk about healing, about how we not only are healed, but we become healers as well. I think we're going to be joined today by our colleague, Colonel David Rabb. Following up previous week's conversations, we wanted to sit with the idea of the impact of trauma for people who were in the military and how the military has or has not served their continued health beyond their discharge. That's a concern that we've been discussing. We'll continue that. But I also want to say thank you, first of all, to everybody that has become a subscriber. We crossed the threshold last week and made it to 1,000 subscribers. Hooray, hooray, hooray. And it's due to you. Thank you. We want you to keep helping us grow this channel. 1,000, that goal met. Next goal, 2,000. So let's see what we can do together to create a community of 2,000 people on the Conversation with Al McFarlane. One of the things that I want you to be aware of as well is that we're coming up on May 25th is something that I'm going to start calling, and I want you to see if it fits with you in terms of how you refer to it. May 25th is George Floyd Day. The week of May 20th, I'm going to call it George Floyd Week. May 25th, 4 years ago, George Floyd was murdered at the hands of one police officer, while three others stood by and managed the crowd control and also put their knees and bodies weight on George Floyd as he was being killed, as he was being murdered. All three of the officers involved were found guilty of second-degree murder and other charges, and all of them have been incarcerated. I did see on the news a few minutes ago that one has finished his federal sentence. I didn't see the entire report. I don't know if that means he's coming back to Minnesota to complete a state sentence or if those sentences were concurrent or not. We'll update you on that in the future. But anyway, think about George Floyd, what the incident, the witness that you bore, that we all bore, experiencing either live or on social media later, the murder of a human being, murder of George Floyd in particular, a tragic and I think seismic event, not only obviously in this one man's life and his family's life, and not only in the community around it, 38th in Chicago, but because of the technology, because it was seen and witnessed around the world. I call this event a seismic global event. And what I want to do, what we're thinking about, we haven't mapped it out yet, but we'd like to, during what I'm calling George Floyd Week, is spend time talking every day, getting people's stories. Where were they? What were they thinking? What they felt, what they feared, what they hoped for as they witnessed and experienced not only the death of George Floyd, but also the turmoil, the tumultuous weeks and days that followed, where communities, including Minneapolis and St. Paul and other cities around the country, were set ablaze. The protest of people angered, bottled up anger, erupting in some cases protests, some cases violence. Well, what does that mean? And I want to review that. Also, a lot of pronouncements were made. People were saying that we want to, companies and businesses and foundations saying we got to pay attention to all the ailments that this cataclysmic event unveiled, made clear, brought into focus. And so I want to talk to some people that were in civic and business and in the NGO world leadership to see what the impact was on their work, their vision, and what they have done differently, if anything, since the troubles, is what I'll call them, that emerged from the murder of George Floyd. So if you have some ideas, you who are connecting with either LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, X, drop me a note. You can send it to the comment here. If you would be interested in being on a program to tell your story, your experience, we'd love to connect with you. You can put a comment here in the comment section. We'll get that. Or you can simply, we'll put an email address at the bottom to use to get to us about your interest in being on the program. But with that, let me begin now by bringing in Dr. B. Dr. B, Dr. Bravada Garrett Akinsanya, how are you, dear sister? How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine, Baba Al. I'm glad to hear us really giving perspective to what happened with George Floyd as a tipping point in the way we look at community and engage with each other. So I'm blessed to be here, brother.
All right. Let me say that one of the reasons I think we catapulted across the goal line for getting our first 1,000 subscribers was an excellent conversation we had on reparations. And what we discovered is this deep wellspring of thought, active engagement by people both opposed and supporting variations on the theme, but the discussion is taking place real time all over the country and perhaps taking place all over the world. In our panel, we talked about reparations for what's called ADOS, or American descendants of slaves, of slavery. And that's a lineage-based strategy to have a government deal with compensation for those that were wronged by this enslavement. But there are other schools of thought that say it's not about lineage and it's not about just America, that we have to really have a global conversation, because the global South was really damaged and altered by the global slave trade and global economy coming out of Europe. And even before that, out of Arabia as well. So it's going to be a good conversation. Again, I want to say that conversation was was so hot that over 10,000 people have watched it, and that pushed our numbers and pushed us in subscribers past 1,000. So we want to come back and keep focusing on elements of that, if that's what people want to talk about. It seems like it is. But I'm saying to the viewers who are there now, if you have suggestions or topics that you want us to address that you can engage with us on, we invite your participation. Help us out, help us grow. We want to be with you, and we want to be in a place that you want to be with us as well. Well, Dr. B, with that, why don't we tell people about our protocol for this program and bring in Brother David Rabb, who's here as well today. Brother David, let's bring David Rabb in first, and then we'll do the protocol. Hey, Brother David, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to be alive.
I know that's right. Good to see you too. Well, hang on a second. I'm going to ask Dr. B to set the intention for this hour.
Very good.
Okay, thank you so much. I'd like to just begin by inviting us to this time, just take a deep breath and just let it go. And one more time, let's just inhale a sense of peace and centeredness, and exhale any stress or bothers. And then let it go. Now, as we center today, knowing that we are on and in a divine appointment. Those who are listening and will listen are those who are preordained today.
Oh, Lord, thank you, Jesus.
To hear, amen, to hear their truth, to calm their souls, to find some peace. in the midst of the constant, turbulent, and battle experiences that we have as people of African descent. So we see ourselves in circle, and we experience a sense of safety by looking around on both sides, behind us, above us, and realizing that in this sacred space, we are protected, we are safe. This day will be a day of healing. This moment will be a moment of change. 1 moment ago, I was. This moment, I am.
Hey, Lord Jesus.
In the past, it was just 1 minute ago. So when we join in a virtual circle, as if we were in a room together. Our circle is connected through spirit, through love, through genealogy, through hopes, through dreams. And in that spirit, we see ourselves in a circle. And that circle for African people is one that is developed so that there is no top or bottom. Everyone has equal space in the circle and equal access to the center to give voice as a place of power. So we join in circle. And in that circle, we honor our elders. We honor them and we call on their spirits because those are the shoulders that we stand on. Somebody hoped our way, worked our way, prayed our way into existence. And here we are. Let's honor those shoulders that we stand on. And we honor our ancestors in this circle because not only were they the shoulders of our elders, they were the vision of who we are, where we came from, what we are to become. And we honor our ancestors because they're closest to our Creator. In this circle, we also acknowledge that African people are orderly, respectful of one another's voice and presence in the circle. So in this circle, although we're not physically present, we have a virtual talking stick that we pass along to one another. Anyone in the circle can ask for the stick, and it will go along from one person to the next. And as we engage in that orderly voice, we give honor to ourselves. We give honor to our connection to each other as human beings on this planet and believing in the idea of consubstantiation. That means all living things, so earth, the sky, everything in them, we're all connected. And we close this part by opening this part and say Ashe. And with that,
Sure.
I pass the talking stick to Baba Al.
Thank
Ashe.
you. What a wonderful way to begin. And it certainly has a powerful personal impact and effect on centering and calming. And so, Dr. B, I thank you so much. And I think it's important that we do this protocol every week because in doing this, we're demonstrating, we're modeling a process that can guide us in all of our interactions in community. And I'm pleased that we're able to do it. Brother David, how you doing, man? You know, last time we talked, I asked you if you would consider, because we talked about Vietnam, actually, not Vietnam, about George Floyd. And you mentioned that you were actually in community, sort of guided by the spirit of brother, I'm having, the face is not, let's see, the great photographer, what's his name? that lived in St. Paul.
Yes. Now you got me going.
Okay.
Say
It'll
again?
come to me. When I see and I knew him. I interviewed him, as a matter of fact, but the name will come in a second. But he
You
was
know
like
what?
the guy that did Shaft and
Right.
all those movies.
Right.
But that spirit guided you to get your camera out and go through the community. And I think what we're doing today in part is having and inviting you to run through some of the photographs in your album, particularly if you have ones that have to do with what you did in the community after the George Floyd incident. But what's on your mind, Brother David? Welcome. I'm passing the talking stick to you.
And I'm grabbing it with grace and love. Thank you, Al, and thank you, Dr. B, for your leadership. And, you know, I appreciate the prayer and the vision, Dr. B, that you laid before us. And my only suggestion is that we accept it. We accept it and that we walk through it. We don't get stuck, right? We are here on this earth, on this planet. And I personally believe that I just need to do my part. And I would recommend is that everybody who can hear me and also the community in the country hear me. Hear me. This too will pass. But right now we're going through a period where we're beyond broken. We're sore. We need to recover, right, from what is presented to us. Dr. B, I just want to let you know that when I was in the Marine Corps at the age of 17, the Marines taught me well. You know, within 2 years of being there, I got promoted to the rank of Sergeant E5. So I was about 19, 20 at that time. And I always thought that, you know, my mama used to say, you know, just keep your head up and keep moving, right? Keep your head up. And she would also say something like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And so in this moment, I'm bringing that into light. I'm bringing that into light. One of the things that you need to know about me, because I was raised by the Marines, I was taught how to shoot a weapon. You can't be a Marine if you can't shoot, qualify. And the first time that I was on the range with a weapon, and I went AWOL. I mean, I didn't qualify. And the reason why I didn't qualify, I believe, I was so nervous. It was the tape that was playing in my head, right? And that tape was, don't ever touch a weapon or a gun or anything. You know, I'm seeing my mom, right? And this goes back to when did Kennedy die? 1967?
2 or 3, no.
2 or 3?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so when he died, my whole household one of my first memories, real, because it was emotional, was when President Kennedy died. And my mom she was from the South, and she had no problems whooping and wailing because that was natural, in terms of mourning, it was natural. And I witnessed that, yeah. And so when I went into the Marine Corps and was supposed to qualify, and I didn't qualify because that tape that my mama was, the weapon, I was afraid, but this is what I love about the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps said, no, 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 no. We're going to work with you, and we're going to give you what you need, right? We're going to qualify. You're not going to leave here until you qualify, right? And I'm like stuck, huh? But they put me on the range. They put me on the rifle range, and all shooting, target, and what happened was by the end of the second week, so I had like 4 weeks of training, right? I flunked the first 2 weeks, but the second 2 weeks, because I'm still, and the Marines is teaching me by the numbers. Oh man, I qualified. And when I qualified at the highest level of marksmanship. I was an expert, right? An expert. I went to the top, and I stayed at the top the rest of my career in the military. I know how to shoot, right? I have one eye now, but that's my good eye. I can shoot still, right? And so what the Marine Corps taught me was this: BRASS. And it was an acronym for breathe, relax, aim, stop, squeeze. Right? Breathe, relax, aim, stop, and squeeze. Breathe. Inhale, exhale. Breathe. Breathe with me. Inhale, exhale. One more time. Breathe. Hold it. Exhale. Watch your body shift. Change just a little. The other thing that BRASS stands for is to relax. To be able to relax is a great thing. I'm personally, when I am around water and jump in, to see, I'm good. I'm relaxed, especially when I get out of the water, right? And that relaxation is something that I think all of us need to remember, is that we need to, on a daily basis, we need to take time just to relax, because we work, and we're going to work ourselves to death, right? There's a term, the new one, here we go. You're the first to hear. It's called karoshi. Karoshi. It's spelled Karoshi. Look it up, Google it. Kuroshi. I remember coming back from Afghanistan. I was under a lot of stress, and to the point that I had to be placed in on suicide watch.
Wow.
I was so
And you
stressed out.
were in Afghanistan to help other people deal with stress.
I was.
You led a combat stress unit.
Yeah, I did. But when I came back from war, all that stress that was there, that carried on, it got to the point that I was, between the family, between work, between the military, all this, it all came together like an ocean, and just it took me out. I had a stroke. They gave me a 5 to 15% chance of living after the stroke. I was in the hospital hospitalized for. I was unconscious. I was hospitalized for about a week, and I was paralyzed. Couldn't walk, talk, couldn't do nothing. And of course, my wife, she saw me stroke out, right? She saw me, and thank God she was driving. And it's a trauma that I always remember, that last moment. And so I was out. I was out like a kite for a week. I was out, intensive care unit. Couldn't say, and I didn't know what's going on. I was just out, dark. And I believe, there you go. I'm going back to my mama. I believe my mama's spirit was surrounding me when I was out. When I came back to, I had all these tubes and stuff hooked up to me, and I'm back, and I think part of that has to do with it wasn't my time. There's something else that God wants me to do. Right? He wants me to do. And so I'm back now, after 2 years of rehab, all types of rehab, physical rehab, mental rehab, and that's the great thing about the VA, is that, the VA, actually I was in the military at that time, but the government took care of me at that point. And I lived, and I recovered slowly. I had to learn how to read again, right?
Brother David, let me interrupt you for a minute and ask for the talking stick back. I wanted to give Dr. B and I a chance to respond to some of the powerful things you've said already, number one, but I also want to bring our colleague and friend Tananya Hurd in the program. Tananya, thank you for being here. And to those who are listening across any of the platforms, if you want to weigh in on this conversation, bring your voice to it, just send an email to Cooper@insightnews.com. He's the showrunner, the producer of the program. He's managing this as we speak. And if you just drop him a note saying, I got something to say, he'll connect with you and send you the link and bring you into the program as well. We enjoy talking to you, and we really want to have the people that are listening or watching live to be a part of this conversation if they would like to do so. We also would like them to, whether you want to be on the program or not, let us know where you are and any feelings you might have. So thanks to Fox Basquiat, who said to you, Colonel Rab, thank you for your service. Let me just show her a note there, checking you out, listening to you, feeling you. And so that's great. And we also want to say hi to Coach Leah and her mom, Anna Michelle. Greetings to all of us. Glad that she's not only one of our colleagues to produce, be part of our shows, but she's also watching and has her mom, both in from Houston right now. Fox Basquiat said, and thank you for the comment, thank you to all guests for voicing your concerns and opinions. I love how this platform allows all to be heard. Keep it up. Well, thank you for that comment and observation. And Fox, as I said, we'd love to have you on in the studio with us as well, if you are able to, if not today, sometime when it's appropriate. Michelle, as always, thank you for being a steady viewer of the program. And thanks for your comments. Praise God for your life, Colonel Rab, a very inspiring recollection. So that's engagement, and that goes back to the message I said earlier about the show we did recently on reparations. That show, I think, got about 300 to 400 engagements, people talking, people making comments and sharing. So that's, to me, the whole point is to get us talking to each other here and around the world about the things that we're passionate about, we're concerned about. Before I go back to Colonel Rab, I wanted to bring Tanani in just for any observations, comments, and thoughts, and then Dr. B, and then back to Colonel Rab, because I know Colonel Rab has some slides that I want him to talk us through. Nani, I'm handing the talking stick to you, and will you hand it to Dr. B when you're done?
Yes, thank you, Brother Al. Really, I echo the sentiments and comment section. Thank you so much for your service. And as always, when I'm listening to you and your stories and how they relate to the military, I'm always listening to see how do I apply that to daily life. And so when you brought up the brass, the breathe, relax, aim, stop, squeeze, I just thought about that in terms of life. When we're in moments where we need to focus, where we need to control, where we need to be precise and accurate and just on point. These can be used in daily life. So I'm always thankful for everything that you have to say and all the wisdom that you give, because although I've never been in the military, I can relate with my father-in-law's stories that are the same of just things that he's seen and had to do. And so that's for me why I always bring it into daily life. So, I know where it was interesting where you said aim, stop, and squeeze. And I thought of that in daily life, like aim, like set your goals, have a clear direction. It's just in life as opposed to, your targets. And stop, in the hustle, we always like to go. We need to, stop and take it easy. And, I just thought squeeze, with regard to life was like, life requires a steady and deliberate approach.
Come on.
You have to take your time. You have to apply consistent work and try to execute your task with precision. I mean, that thinking with, about that. So it was just interesting that term in the military gave me that basically this approach in life can lead to better outcomes and just a greater sense of satisfaction in daily endeavors. And so with that, I'm going to pass the talking stick to you, Dr. B.
Thank you, Sister Tanaye. It's so beautiful to see you again. And I love it when you join us. You always bring so much, just like a breath of fresh air, and so much positive energy and insight. I just love having you on the show. Please make sure you come back. What I wanted to say when I was listening to Brother Rab is I thought about what a soldier sees, what they see, and what tools they have to manage it. And I too thought, like Sister Tanaye, as to why it's so critical to use those steps, the breathing, the relaxing, the aiming, the stopping. That part hit me. Stop. And
Stop.
then back. Squeeze. Stop. Okay, get your bearings.
Hey,
When things change around us, oh, how important it is to, like I said, breathe. One moment I was, the next one I am, to relax into it, because as long as you keep breathing, that's God's way of telling you to keep on going. Aim, like she said, aim high, look at where you want to go, but just
thank you.
stop a minute before you squeeze.
Mm-hmm.
And so, brother, you, even in your mildest ways, you're always teaching, always teaching. And it reminds me of what a soldier sees when they look into the world. They
Thank
have
you.
to have that mentality. And sometimes what they see, what they're aimed toward, isn't always what they thought it was going to be. And that's where I think we let our soldiers down. That's where we let ourselves down as people of African descent.
Mm.
I think there are a lot of ways that if we just use those basic principles, and I'm talking to myself now, which is
Come
really,
on now.
Bible say, physician, hear yourself. So I'm telling you, these are hidden words you're speaking. And so with that, I'm going to look at that as a context as we look at those slides that you're going to bring forward in a moment. I'm going to use that breathe, relax, aim, stop, squeeze as I look at how you did that with the camera. So with that, I'm passing the talking stick to you, and hopefully Cooper can hook us up with some slides that we can discuss. All right, now.
There we go.
Come on with it.
Let's just breathe, right? This slide presentation, I just want you to just go quick, right? Just I'll say next, right? And if you can move the slide when I say next. Hua means do you hear me, or good, right? You're gonna hear, sometimes I say hua, sometimes I say hoorah, and then sometimes I say hoo-ya. See, this is a different language. This is the military has a way. It has its own language and its own uh, frame of thinking that is different, and sometimes it's similar. But the point is that when you have veterans come up in there, you know, and it's going to change. It's going to change because we're included. And I believe that one of the reasons why we have a high suicide rate is because people don't want to listen. They don't want, because we're busy, 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 busy. We have no time for you, even though you're a wounded veteran. But then what happens is that race jumps into this, right? Throw race in. Does race matter in the military? Does it? I mean, you have family, you have friends, you have community. Does race matter? I will say, hell yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Hooah.
Yeah, I'm saying we got to hit it. This is the reason why we're here. We need to share our truth. We need to just be you, do you, be true. That's how I'm lining it up. I'm going to be me, like it or not. I'm going to be what God has created me to be. I'm going to say what God has put in my heart, in my mind. I'm going to say it. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble.
Good trouble.
But then, isn't there a book that was written recently? Right? What's the brother who said good trouble?
John Lewis.
That I'm saying. Mm-hmm. John Lewis. Hold on to that for a minute. What was he fighting for? And why are we fighting now? Because we're at war. I'm just going to say it. You know, we're at war, and a lot of people can't see it. Discrimination is rampant in our country. I feel betrayed by the way that I was treated as a Black soldier. Not a Marine, but a soldier. And you know what? The U.S. Army is one of the largest and best organizations. I give them credit for doing what they do. And that is to fight our wars, right? They put a lot of emphasis in educating and training and all that. But when you walk through, if you're a person of color or a woman or a male or transgender, you're going to be challenged to fit in. And
Brother David, what is this image here?
Okay, that image, I'm glad you hit that image there. That image there is when actually I was about to go to Afghanistan. I was going to go to Afghanistan. I just got the word that, and I was working as a military liaisons in California. And I coordinated the Western region of the Army Reserves. And hey, you know what? I got a chance to climb. I got a chance to climb. We'll talk more about that later. But I saw leadership. I saw good leadership. I saw neutral leadership, and I saw bad leadership. I'm just saying, I'm free. I can say it now, right? And I love the U.S. military. I love the U.S. Veterans Administration. Yet within those organizations, discrimination, violence, and it's there. Okay, slow down right here. You see that right there? That photo right there. Check this out. Every year, I go to pay my respect. Pay my respect. And this right here is where I'm paying my respect to a lieutenant colonel, retired David Kuhlman. And David Kuhlman was a good guy. He was from Minnesota, yeah, and he was just a really nice, wholesome, smart, intelligent. He was when I first engaged him, he was like the only person that really accepted me for who I was as being a Black man. Because it was, as my mama would say, the unit was lily white, right? And so I come into this unit, and they had challenges. We didn't have this awareness about diversity and inclusion. That wasn't even thought about back then. You know, I mean, it wasn't. It was like more like Al, what you experienced in terms of the structure and the of the military and situations that they just was naive or intentional or what, but they didn't have a clue of what was happening as it related to race relations, right? But we did the best we could. They did the best they could. So Dave Kuhlman, he, because he was a social worker, et cetera, he was a really nice guy, good guy. And when he died, to honor him, I created a therapeutic model called the Kuhlman Group Debriefing Process, or the Kuhlman Group Debriefing Model. It started out as a model, like a structure, but then when the balloon went up and we were learning more and more and more, we made it a process, you know, a process. And what it was debriefing secondary survivors of a traumatic event. Debriefing secondary survivors. Secondary survivors are people who knew the person who died, but they might have not been there at the spot when that person died. You know, you're on a convoy and the convoy get hit, and boom, your buddy is dead. How do you process that? It was very complex. It was very complicated. And these days we hear these terms called complex grief, right? And what that is, you know, usually there's a straight line, the mourning process, you know. If you're lucky in life, yesterday I went to a funeral for a family member, and that person lived to be like 89. He was a vet. 89. And they honored him really nice, in that they had his boots that he wore. And you know, it was a small community that gave respect to one of their fallen. When you're a veteran, you're a veteran. I don't care if you, how old you are, what color you are, gender, everything. If you're a veteran, you're a veteran. And for me, it feels like it's a spirit in which we operate. Not all, but most. There's a spirit that goes with the package, that goes with me.
Can I interrupt? Cooper, do you mind backing up one slide?
Mm.
Can you tell us about the Warrior Recovery Center and where this is and what are you doing here?
Okay. The Warrior Recovery Center, 2012. What that was in Kandahar, Afghanistan. They have an air base there that they basically it's a very large organization to take care of the wounded and the sick and all that. They also were looking at combat operational stress because there was a lot of people getting stressed out, right? And so what we did is we created a system of care. Check that out, a system of care. We had this mapped out. This is how we're gonna, if a person comes in here, this is what they're going to get in terms of a package, a system of care. So the care that was very organized, it was multidisciplinary, it respected boundaries as in terms of creating structure for people, an avenue for people to heal. And we had over, I believe, 2,000 soldiers that came through it. And basically, I was responsible for it. Okay? I'm going to give me a pat on the back. Right? God is good. God is good. And, I had a staff of 40, as you were, 40, twice, 83 clinicians, right? They were both officers and enlisted, but our main focus was to help people heal, right? Help soldiers, and you do it within the culture. Culturally competency is very important. A veteran like this right here, this photo here, this soldier here, is young. Look behind him. There's other soldiers of color, of different gender. They're straight. This is our force, as we say. This is our force. This is how we win wars. This is what makes us great, right? And it's something that I think makes our country tick. Okay.
What are these last two slides? What's the one of the two young men? That was pretty interesting. Go back one, Cooper. What's that?
Okay. That right there is my cousins. I was born in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousins, they were older than me. They came out of the same community that I did.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was they became there were 18 kids. The Benson family, 18 kids. And I saw my aunt, who orchestrated all that, you know, for me, it was beautiful. I saw family, you
Sure.
know, when they
And who's this
say
person on the
again.
slide now? Who is this one?
That right there is it's just you know a photo of a warrior
Okay.
who the Civil War and his family and his kids, right? And the issue is that's you know soldiers come with a package,
Mhm.
right? We come with family. This right here is a photo of my unit in Afghanistan. Um, Before we went to Afghanistan, you know, you go through a lot of training. You go through a lot of training, and we had completed the training, but we also wanted to honor one of the nurses. As you were, she was a psychologist. She was torn because she had already served, you know, honorably and gracefully, and was at a point where she could retire, and she made the decision to retire, which was a good because she was, you know, she did a lot. Those photos right there, actually, I took. And this is April of 2004. Um, all hell broke out. All hell broke loose, and we lost 8 soldiers. 8 soldiers. And again, my role is a healer. My role was to help create environment where people could grieve and get support and get some education on grief and loss. Right? Photo that one is from that's my unit or some of my unit in California. I was the commander of the 113th Combat Stress. This is the unit that went to Afghanistan. And this photo right there, that photo is beautiful. My daughter, I just saw her a couple of minutes ago, but she's now 22 in college. My wife and I adopted 2 girls. It was more my wife doing, you know, she wanted, and we already had 4 kids. And my wife wanted to adopt, and I said, "What?" I mean, the kids are, you know, our kids, they're about to go in the house, they're getting ready to graduate from high school. But you know what?
Who's this? Who's this?
Those are my girls.
All
And,
right.
huh? And Mandy, Elise, Lietta, Zora. Zora is pregnant now. She's tall and, well, she's the one leaning, but
Standing up.
she's pregnant now. I'm gonna have a grandchild,
All right.
and
Congratulations.
yeah, I can't wait, baby girl. Anyway, so I have that. This right here, it goes back to the beginning. I
Yeah.
told you, brass, breathe, relax, aim, stop, squeeze. That's what I learned in the Marine Corps. And I've taken that, what do we call it? That framework, and I reapplied it to civilian life. That's God. That's brilliance. That is brilliant. And so
Brenda
in terms of
Davis.
helping people recover and get what they need, that's what I do. And I'm proud of what my units, all of them, all the members. The best thing is to see them grow,
Mm-hmm.
to see them grow, because you're only in people's life for a brief period of time, and it's nice to be a force multiplier, right? I have so many warriors that I have groomed. So America should be in good hands, right?
All
It
right.
should be. But we still have challenges. We still
We
have
have
challenges
we have to
that
let
we
that
need to
be
work.
the Brother
Say
David.
again?
That has to be our mic drop. We're out of time. Thank you.
All
That's
right.
good. That's the mic
All
drop.
right.
Listen, what a great conversation, a great story, and thank you for sharing so much information and the images and the story behind the images. Dr. B, I'll have you say the final word. Thank you, Tananya, for being here. I just want to remind people that we thank you, listeners and viewers. Like there's a number of people on Twitter. Thank you. Subscribe, like, comment, share. That's what we want you to do. This is the Conversation with Al McFarlane. And Dr. B, why don't you close us out?
I guess the lesson from today is that as we heal others. And remember to rest, relax, stop, and aim. And
All
so
right.
we got it going on.
No,
So
no,
until
no.
next week.
Sweet.
Stop and squeeze. Yeah, and
Stop
You
and
got to
squeeze.
squeeze. You
Yeah.
got to,
Stop and squeeze.
go slow.
All right, guys. Thank you all so
Okay.
much. We'll see you next time. Take care.
All right.
Thank
I'll
you.
do.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.